Hi everyone. Today I have two of my very bright students who have got selected in ITC Infotech. I have Nivya Rodriguez and Brijesh Patel. So hello both of you.
Hello.
Yeah, great to have you. And so today I just want to ask you all how it was with ITC Infotech, what were the rounds and all. So first, what were the rounds for ITC Infotech?
We had an aptitude round of 60 questions altogether, in which 40 were general aptitude and 20 were technical based on which branch we came from. So I was from EC, I had only EC related technical questions. But in general aptitude, we had sections like quantitative, and then there was logical and reasoning and verbal. In quantitative, we had questions and aptitude problems related to train, work and time, distance, speed, time, and simple aptitude. But in logical reasoning, we had analytical reasoning and questions like if the son's age and father's age related problems, and also the verbal was very important. We had many verbal questions which included tenses, prepositions and all that. So verbal played a major role in aptitude, ma'am. And when it came to technical, we had basic core-related questions.
And technical for computer science was basically they give a program, we have to write what the output would be. Like we have to select what the output would be possible. Usually it's from pointers concept of C programming language. Then we also had networking questions like what are the layers in OSI model, things like that. And they asked us what would be what kind of output we get from each layer. So yeah, the main it was most of the questions were programming related in technical of CS.
Alright, so compared to aptitude and technical, which was tougher, or do you feel both were the same?
No, I would say aptitude was easy.
Aptitude was easy and technical
was
a little
moderate.
Moderate.
I would also say aptitude is way easier compared to electronics questions, because they included a lot of formulae, revising and all that. But aptitude was general, were the ones we had already practiced in the platforms in the college.
Alright, but I think since both of you had practiced so well, so it was easy.
Yeah, that was very helpful actually, practicing for those.
So how long did you practice before the...
Since we had those aptitude classes, they were really helpful.
I think we almost had like 2 years of aptitude.
Yeah, 2 years of aptitude. Every week 3-4 hours.
Alright, so that helped. Alright.
Also, a few weeks prior to the company, we practiced papers related to that particular company. Example, ITC Infotech, we downloaded papers from various websites and we practiced the same. And the same concepts also came and appeared for the exam. So it was very helpful.
Alright. So now...
And the next round we had programming.
Okay.
That was basically we had to get the output in order to clear that round. So the ones who got the output went to the next round. Next round was GD.
GD. So how was the GD?
The group discussion was again general topics given to a group of 10 to 15 people. Our group had 10 of us, and we had questions related to education, its importance, women empowerment, and influence of social media on general students' lives. So it was very general and basic, but they made note of every point that you put forth. So if you made a point, a valid point, even if you spoke for 1 minute or 5 minutes, you would be in based on the relevance to the topic. So it was very general, also point related. So
they wanted everyone to speak. Like whoever was speaking they were actually listening to what they were telling. Whoever couldn't speak, they were asking them to speak, but then if they couldn't speak, they couldn't clear that round.
All right. And your technical round, how was that, Brijesh?
The programming round was...
After the GD, it was a technical, is it?
No. We had programming and then GD. Then it was the interviews.
Yeah. No, after the GD, you had the interview. Yeah, the technical interview.
The technical interview was... so the first question will usually be, tell me about yourself. So what is my strategy is I start by introducing like the basic introduction of myself. Then I move on to my projects. Because I can speak about my projects more than anything in my resume. So once I start telling about my projects, if they're impressed by it, they keep asking more questions about the project. So basically what languages I use in that project. For example, I had used Python, a lot of Python in my projects. So they asked me some questions related to Python, like which library do you prefer, which library is your favorite library, some general stuff like that.
Alright.
So if you can explain your projects well, then they won't ask you a lot of technical questions because they know that you're technically sound. So that would be how.
So your project really helped.
Projects really helped.
So how many projects did you do?
I had done around 4 to 5 projects because we have this yearly scheme that we have to do projects in our college, SPSS.
Yeah.
So we had to do a project. So basically we did all the things that we learned from the syllabus and also the extra things that we got from online.
So did they ask you about all the projects, or was it one or two in particular?
When we start explaining the project, if they are interested in that particular project, they ask more about that project.
Alright. Often the problem is, students do a project in a group and then they know only their part of the project and they don't know the others.
Yeah.
So I think you need to know everybody's, right? The whole project as a
Yeah.
whole should be
And
there.
they also ask what was your contribution in the project, like how had you divided the project into sections and what did you do in the project.
Alright.
So basically, technical round was just about the project for me, ma'am. Even when they asked us to introduce ourselves, the students have to make a note that when you're introducing yourself in a technical round, you have to speak about your technical achievements. It could be a seminar, a workshop that you've attended, or your internships play a major role in how you explain your projects in an internship. So the HR, when he asked me about the technical projects, he was very impressed with the internship one, and then he gave us a choice to explain which one would we prefer talking about. So you need to know your project inside out, and then you can explain about it. So the projects play a major role in ITC technical rounds for us and even the other selected students. So they asked quite basics questions, but the project played a prominent role in the entire technical round. So it was just about the project, the specifications of the components that we use in electronics related projects, and all the basics that we've already learned about the components in our project. Example, it could be the power, or it could be the voltage, the distance that the device travels, and all that. Just the basics.
Alright, so you found that the technical interview was sort of alright with you all. I mean, it was
Yes.
not very difficult.
Yeah, it was not very difficult.
Anything in the HR? Did you have an HR round? Because sometimes they don't have a.
We had an HR round. HR round was basically general stuff like what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And
it looks basic, but then if you're not
but
prepared,
we have to
yeah.
answer
Yes.
the way it should be.
Yes.
Because they actually had elimination in HR round also. It was not like if you clear the technical, you're set. I mean,
Alright.
because they have eliminated people from HR round, so it's very important how you answer, what you answer.
Okay.
And one of the most common questions was, what do you know about ITC Infotech?
Okay.
So it was very important that we listen to the presentation that we have, PPT in the beginning. So basically we can tell what did we know from, what did we get to know about ITC Infotech from the PPT.
Yeah.
Also, we had a very important question. We think it's very simple. It's tell me about yourself.
Yes, true.
So I would suggest all my juniors and all the students preparing for ITC and the other companies to have sort of a prepared tell me about yourself, which can be applicable for that particular company. Example, if you're writing an EC core related, then you have to prepare, you have to write points related to EC core. But if you're in going to IT related companies, then you cannot tell I am so dedicated that I only want EC core company. So we had to prepare based on that. So tell me about yourself, strengths and weaknesses, and they asked us a very important question, why should ITC hire you? So all these basic questions, the students have to always keep their answer prepared, so it will help them a lot. And questions like what's your about your family, about your background, your responsibility as a student, and all this, ma'am. So these were the questions they asked us in the HR round.
Alright. I think we're going to do a separate video on, tell me about yourself, because this is a short question for everyone. And I just wanted to check, ask you that, any message that you want to give your juniors other than what you have already told?
Yeah, I'd like to tell all my juniors to maintain a CGPA, because there are some companies, most of them have a CGPA because of which you can attend the drives further. And second thing would be listen to the PPT, because everything that they ask you about the company in the HR round would only come from the PPT, and the other homework that you do, that is you search about the company,
And
the CEO and all that.
Yeah, they have to actually check the company before they attend.
Yeah.
So important.
And you need to prepare about yourself and a little of confidence, and be well dressed, and then you go to your interview. But you have to have your skills on place, that is your communication, your aptitude and other basic skills, and then I think they're all good to go.
Alright.
So I would like to add, it's very important that you know your projects inside out, because you get confidence when you know your projects. Like you can speak about your project. There won't be a like a phase in the interview where you will be silent and the HR will be silent. You will keep on telling about your projects. He will have to stop you. It's like, okay, fine, I can continue more. Yeah, so that would
So
be
I'd
one
like
of
to
the
add one more point. Since I come from a branch which is non-IT, so it's very important for the students in a non-IT branch to know at least one or two coding languages perfectly, because they don't ask us a lot about the coding, they just ask us basics about it. So I think it's very important to brush up on your basics of a programming language which is other than your branch.
And usually what I've observed is they ask you which language you're comfortable in, and then they ask you questions based on that. So it's always better to have one language that you're really good at.
Alright, so at least one language in and out. Finally, I'd like to ask the both of you, you've been very active in the college, so what activities that you have done in the college in these 4 years actually helped you to crack ITC?
Yeah, I would say the first thing would be the projects, because those were the main things that helped me in my interview. First the projects, and then comes the aptitude that we used to learn for 2 years. I mean, it helped us a lot, to be honest, because we knew what kind of questions are there and we could prepare the week before the interview actually came. So yeah, the aptitude and the projects, mainly I would say that.
Yeah, and Nivya has been our placement president, and she has been volunteering and coordinating all our drives over here. We get around 170 companies. So Nivya, I actually want to thank you for all this. Did that help also along with the other activities?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. But I would like to add on, companies like ITC Infotech give an equal importance to your technical as well as the skills. So confidence is something you need to possess and carry with yourself when you're entering the room, when you're talking in a group discussion, to stand out and get selected. So I think the club that in Sahyadri we had a club, we still do, it's a club called Oratocrats, which is a forum for speakers. So when I joined, I wasn't much of an extrovert talking to everybody, but Oratocrats did help all of us who were in the club to build confidence and face a crowd. So along with technical skills, I think clubs like Oratocrats also helped us to face the crowd and the HR and speak really well to the best of our abilities.
Oratocrats is something in the lines of Toastmasters, so that's what we have. And thank you very much. And I hope it was helpful to all the juniors and the viewers. Till we meet again, it's bye.